News of the big-time Houston businessman buying a casino empire has opened a lot of conversations about the potential future of Texas gambling. Here to talk more about it, more in depth now, Dallas Business Journal's editor-in-chief Will Anderson. Will, thanks so much for being with us.
Hey, Jason.
So we just heard here, a guy with very deep pockets there in Houston, dipping a toe into this, and I actually dipping a whole body into this. That's a pretty big deal.
A lot of skin.
To buy, a Las Vegas casino as giant as Caesars Entertainment there. Yep. Can you kind of talk a little bit about what this means for the future of gambling here in Texas?
Sure. It's big news in its own right, as you said. It's a nearly $18 billion deal for Tillman Fertitta Entertainment to buy Caesars, which is a big name in Las Vegas. The interesting subtext is what you just mentioned and what we just heard from Jason. You would think that a Texas-based casino giant is in a really good position to bring a casino resort here if the state ever legalizes it. And that's a big if. There's no guarantee. It honestly lost some ground in the last legislative session, and I've heard the chances are pretty mediocre in the next session. But
there's been a lot of resistance to it in Austin, and we heard that, maybe that's going to be breaking now that, a couple of years ago, we had Mavs owner Mark Cuban selling a huge portion of the Mavericks to the owners of the Las Vegas Sands, and so folks were like, definitely gambling's coming now, and it still didn't happen after that either.
It's a big push, and like I said, I've heard mediocre chances in the next session, but I've been wrong before. So to put all the pieces together, now basically if you look back at the last session, the big gambling bill that kind of gathered, the one that was the central focus, it outlined how casino gambling might look in Texas, if you remember. It was, I think, a system of like 10 licenses, not a huge number, and they would be going to these destination casino resorts, not small facilities, like big destination resorts, presumably in the big metros, DFW, Houston, etc. That's going to take a lot of money. So it would take a company with the resources like Fertitta, like Las Vegas Sands, like Cordish maybe, the company, Cordish Companies that runs Texas Live in Arlington and has casinos around the country. So you need a very big company to accomplish that. Now, to Jason's point, who knows if they'll be able to accomplish that? And it looks like with the current composition of the Senate, it's not happening. But who knows what the future could hold?
These are some powerful interests, though, and they're here in Texas, and they've got big money. My curiosity is, how powerful are the interests outside of the state, though, that have big money as well? Those being like Oklahoma and Louisiana. No doubt they are playing in this game as well here in Texas, trying to make sure it doesn't come here because such a huge portion of their business comes from Texas.
Absolutely. They'd prefer that didn't happen. We just heard from Choctaw that's working with Charles Schwab this week. They're going to be against that, but at the same time, could they also be interested in partnering in some of these deals? Because if there's 10, there's a fair amount of deals to go around, and kind of everyone's been cognizant of what that would mean for the existing landscape of casino gaming in nearby areas. But big picture, from the people that I talk to, a state the size of Texas, a state growing the size of Texas, they think it is inevitable long term. The question is, how long would it take to get there? And how long will people like Tillman Fertitta and the Adelsons wait?
It's going to be interesting to see in this next legislative session if we start to see that move just a little bit.
If it doesn't happen, do we see it gaining more momentum where it didn't even make it out of committee in the last session, before it passed the House, I think? So will it advance farther and set up maybe for 2030s?
Sometimes it's baby steps. I was told by a senator years ago, it usually takes 3 sessions. Once you have a bill and you introduce something new and big, it usually takes 3 sessions for it to actually get passed if it has a chance.
I mean, we've hit 3, 4, how many have we hit on gambling? So
that doesn't look that great.
But it's a big change.
We'll see. Yeah, it is a very big change. Will Anderson from the Dallas Business Journal. If you want to get smarter about anything going on in business here in DFW in North Texas, that's where you go to read. Really appreciate it as always.
Thanks, Jason.